What is up, Buff Nation? Yeah, we watched it all go down yesterday, and if you look at it realistically, they're basically almost back where they were 3 weeks ago. Remember, CU fell into this great position by other teams winning games. Okay, remember, they had destiny in their hands against K-State, and it slipped out of their hands. Now, what happened in the preceding in the later weeks put them back into this position again. So technically, CU didn't earn the right to where they were yesterday. But that's neither here nor there. That's not why I did this video. As I watched the game yesterday, I thought CU is starting off slow again after the opening drive by KU ended up in the end zone. Then CU's offense took the field after KU's opening TD drive and went 3 and out on what I thought was a no-call / pass interference on 3rd and 4 when Shedeur was trying to go to Travis Hunter. Okay, I thought that was the play looked a little, I say shady. Okay, I would think 9 times out of 10 you would probably see that call made by officials, but again, CU, it's been that kind of a season. Normally, I don't go out of my way to blame officials this early in the game. With so much football left to play, how could you? I think we can surmise from CU's history with officiating as sketchy in some games. And this game was no different. Now, if you remember 2 weeks ago, Utah AD ripped Big 12 officiating after a tough loss to BYU. So let's just put a pin in Big 12 officiating for the season to say it has been, or they have left a lot to be desired. Okay, they have left a lot to be desired. But again, in my last video, I pointed out the need for CU to take care of business. Do not put yourself in these positions to where the human component can become a factor. CU has to be able to put away teams when they have the opportunity. Yesterday was not that opportunity. Now, there were 2 calls that I had an issue with. One was that on their first drive, on that pass hold / pass interference, however you want to call it, on Travis Hunter, or not on Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter was grabbed during his route, which is clearly a pass interference or a hold, which would have put CU in 1st and 10 and moving the ball. The second non-call was the late hit on Shedeur Sanders by linebacker Dean Miller. I mean, let's take a look at this play. Now, what was shocking to me was no one threw a flag on that play. That was shocking to me. So I don't want to get too deep, but to not call that play, I mean, if you take Shiloh's so-called targeting hit, which they picked up the flag on, but they had to go look at the video to see if it was actual targeting. Now, that official assumed he saw targeting. Why didn't anyone assume they saw either a late hit on what I say, I don't know if this is a college rule, a defenseless player, or unnecessary roughness? Him hitting Shedeur at his knees at that point in the play was inconsequential to the play. There was nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do without the ball in football. So him making that hit on Shedeur was unnecessary roughness at best. But again, you still had a lot of football left to play. And what we've seen this year with CU and officiating, that is pretty much the norm. But that's not why I did this video. Not to sit up here and complain about officiating, on this entire video. Let's look at why and how CU ended up in the position that they did. When you give up 333 yards rushing to anybody, you're not going to put yourself in a position to win. That's right. You heard me correctly. CU Nation, Buff Nation, 333 yards rushing. That's how much Kansas ran for alone yesterday. That's not even including the passing yards. This was just rushing. When you can run the ball for that many yards in one game, you put yourself in a phenomenal position to win. Those are staggering numbers for any defense, much less teams run for 333 yards of total offense in entire games. And in this game yesterday, which was a game they needed to show up and play their best, they gave up 333 yards rushing to Kansas, who is obviously, I think by now, people know is the hottest team in the Big 12 after winning their third straight game against a ranked opponent. So CU, now I'm not hanging this all on CU's defense. I was listening to Coach Prime in his post-game presser. He said that Coach Livingston called a good game. It was the execution of the calls that was not a good game on behalf of the players. The coaches can only do so much. The players have to execute the game plan. Now, in my last video, I pointed out the team that got on that plane based on the week of practice before they got on that plane is going to be the same team to get off of that plane. Whoever CU was when they got on that plane, based on how they practiced, was going to determine who got off that plane. Who got off that plane? The team we saw yesterday. What type of team did we see yesterday? I mean, to me, the coaches can only do so much. At some point, the rest is upon the players to do their jobs. I hang some of this upon the seniors. The seniors have to take a leadership role on this team, on this roster. This is their last rodeo. It is incumbent upon the seniors of this team to lead this team. I don't care how you came to CU, whether you started your freshman year at CU or via transfer portal. You're a senior. You're wearing the Colorado uniform. And if you're a senior, you'll be wearing that uniform for a home game for the last time this next week against Oklahoma State. And why are you hesitant about leading this team? Now, if you're not leading by precept and example, I am not referring to you. I'm referring to those who have led this team by precept and example on and off the field, in and out of the classroom. If you have met these standards along with your academic requirements, then you qualify. Well, I'm not a coach. I'm not Coach Prime. I'm not none of his staff. I'm just saying I think these are some of the attributes of a team leader. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be corrected by Bucky or Coach Prime. I'm not trying to go there. Okay, let me be clear about that. And seniors, take responsibility for this roster. Take responsibility for this roster. What that team that got on that plane was largely determined by what you allowed in practice that week. If you saw the team slacking off that week, the coaches can only say and do so much. There's nothing like accountability when it's coming from a peer, someone your age, getting in your face, telling you need to get your job done. You expect to hear that from the coaches. It's almost a parental role in a sense. You expect to hear that from an adult. What you don't expect to hear is a teammate getting in your grill and saying, hey man, that play wasn't at game speed. We need game speed this week, every week in practice. We need a phenomenal week of practice if we're going to have a phenomenal performance on Saturday. I think that should be clear to everyone on this roster by now, that you don't play great or phenomenal on Saturday without a good week of practice. It's not going to happen, guys. You're not going to go through the motions all week in practice and then have a phenomenal game on Saturday. That's not how this game works, people. People have coached this game for hundreds of years. Now, well, the game has been played for hundreds of years, and people have coached this game for almost as long, if you combine all of their careers together. And not one coach will tell you that you can go through the motions in practice and play phenomenal on Saturday. No one is going to tell you that. No one is going to coach that. No great coach who's ever had a great team allows a team to go through a week and not have a great practice, a phenomenal practice. I say phenomenal because if your goal is to reach phenomenal, you can end up being great. That's why I say phenomenal. Now, if you look at those two teams that played yesterday, Kansas, CU, who looks like they had the better week of practice? It's clear by the way they play. It is clear. And I'm not saying this is what happened with CU. I'm just offering that it's evident. It's a visual. It's obvious who had the better week of practice. And that's because that's the way they played. CU looked like they fell back into old habits, missing tackles, missing assignments. And that came from a lack of focus in practice the week leading up to the game. The team that got off that plane did not have a great week of practice, much less phenomenal. They played like they practiced last week. Now, put that behind you. You have one more opportunity this Saturday for your seniors. Now, you saw how hard KU played for their seniors. CU, how hard are you going to practice this week for your seniors? Seniors, don't let anybody slide. Don't cut no deals the rest of the season. Y'all have a postseason coming up, CU. Provided y'all take care of business this Saturday. Provided y'all get your practice life straight. Provided y'all take care of business in practice. You all can extend your season even further. We don't know what's going to happen next week, and it doesn't matter. What matters is how you practice this week. Game speed is the minimum requirement in practice. Game speed is the minimum requirement. Phenomenal practices. Do everything. Don't waste a rep. You don't have the time. Like Coach Prime ended his post-game speech in the locker room. He says, I think he says something to the effect that you got one more opportunity. How did he say? What are you going to do next? And he was also speaking futuristically that the season is coming to a close at some point. What are you prepared to do next? How are you prepared to move your life forward? For some, it's going to be the getting prepared for the draft and combines. For others, it's going to be preparing for the professional draft of the workplace. No matter what you're doing, everything begins and ends with preparation. How you prepare, CU. That's the most important thing that you should take away from this game. Don't worry about the tough loss. Compartmentalize that, put that behind you, and use it as a motivating factor for how you're going to prepare this week. What are you going to do for your seniors? Okay? What are you going to do for your seniors this week? How hard are you going to go out and play for them this week and practice for them this week? Seniors, are you going to lead by precept and example? So the underclassmen can see what's expected of them when they become seniors. Can you all come together as a team and lock down on this practice equation, getting this practice formula right? I know the way your lives are structured, everything is laid out for you. It can get kind of mundane and you hit a lull and fall into bad habits. Look, like you did last week. You fell back into bad habits. That's all. Bounce back. Bounce back from that this week. You have one more opportunity. Thank God Kansas wasn't the last game of the season. This is how you all's career would have ended. But you can rewrite that story next week, starting with a phenomenal week of practice. Practice, guys. Come on now. Coach Prime, the staff, everybody. Carl, the chef, Coach Mo, everybody can only say and do so much for you. At some point, it is incumbent upon the individual to take the responsibility upon themselves to get the job done. Well, we'll all be looking forward to how you all close out the senior season in Folsom Field next week. For those of you who watch my content and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I want to reach a goal of 1,500 subscribers before the end of the year. If I can reach it sooner than that, that would be phenomenal. That's all I have for you right now. You all have a blessed day, blessed week, a happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing how the team comes out and closes out the regular season against Oklahoma State. I'm out.
Guys, there's not one of you in here today can say you did your absolute best. It's not one of you can say you played your best game. Nobody in here can say you gave the maximum effort. You gave it all you could. It's nobody. And you see the result. See, the problem is you got intoxicated with success. And success is intoxicating. You start believing what they're saying. You start listening more to what they said. You bought into all that foolishness that you were this. And you went out there and we got humble. Coaches, players, everyone, we went out there and got humble. You're in control of your own destiny. It's just like God just giving you a ticket, say, I'm going to give you all the talent, everything you want. You're in control of it. And you squandered and you messed it up. So we just did. Ran the ball down our throats. We only had the ball for 20 minutes. They kept the ball for 41 minutes. We didn't have the ball for 20 minutes. They had the ball for 19 minutes. They kept the ball for 41 minutes. They ran the heck out of the ball. You know what they were doing. It was maybe one trick play. We weren't prepared for it, but it is what it is. Where do you go from here? Where do you go from here? Like, where do you go from here? That's the critical thing. What do you do with this moment? What do you glean from this moment? What do you learn from this moment? Where do we go from here? Because this moment just ain't about football. This is about life. And this is a tremendous life lesson. Let's learn from it. Let's learn from it and grow from it. What we just displayed out there, that wasn't us. That was the hype team that went out there from the start to the finish. That was the hype team that went out there and didn't do nothing with it because we start believing the hype. The question is, guys, I'm going to ask you one last time. Where do you go from here? God bless.